He's got no heart, huh?
The little guy was getting around in there pretty good too. He figured out how to climb up onto the top of the counter and everything. All right, Mike. Till next week. If Scott doesn't go to Tennessee or Florida or Massachusetts or wherever the next trip's gonna be.
Well, actually, I got a trip coming up, but it's
Oh yeah, where you going?
Oh boy.
Where are we going this time?
Massachusetts.
You are going to I just said that.
That's fine.
You are going to Massachusetts.
It's in my appointment book.
Where are you going to Massachusetts? For what? Visit the museum or
McGrath.
McGrath?
McGrath, Massachusetts for the day.
Oh, for a day?
Yep.
What's in McGrath?
Grandkids, I guess.
Grandkids. Oh, I guess you're taking a client out there.
Yep.
You really gotta get a town car. Let them lead to bigger tips.
I do all right.
Well, I mean, you know, for these long trips with elderly people, I would think they would like a nice town car to ride in. Plus, you could bang them for more money. Of course, you'd have to have a place to park it too, because you wouldn't want to run it all the time, not the way you drive.
Only if I'm hungry.
Which is all the time, so it's pretty much constantly going somewhere. All right. Let's see what it is this week.
Any guesses?
Oh, it's got to be what, 110 by now, 112. Well, 108. Okay, I was close. 108. Did you ever do the timing belt on this thing?
Yeah.
You did do it?
Well, I didn't do it.
Who did it?
Mechanic.
Oh.
Think I tore this thing apart?
Oh, I don't know. You got all those tools.
Yes, I do. No, I just turn them in for new ones, that's all.
Do the head gasket yet?
No. That's probably going to be coming up next.
Yeah, they all go eventually. I got one sitting right outside my gate right now, actually. It's I think a 2002. 2 years older than this, but the head gasket popped. Had 135 on it, I believe. But you never can tell. Some might go further than that. Some less. And only the damn Civics. It's never the Accords. I must have used a shitty head gasket for some reason. Or just the design of the engine, I don't know. But if you don't let it overheat when it blows, then it's the head should be just fine. It doesn't need any particular attention.
So all of a sudden the thing goes right up to H, shut it right off.
Yeah. The minute it starts to overheat, you cut it right off and call for a tow. Or you start smelling antifreeze every time you get out of a car. You know?
Good thing they salted the roads. I heard it's going to be icy tonight.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that.
First fucking thing I saw.
I'm like, what the hell is that shit on the road? You know? That would be a sander truck blew up there. So
Yeah, I know, right?
First they paved it, then they sealed it, and then they sanded it.
Well, I could probably absorb the oil.
Yeah. And give it a little bit of slickness. Get rid of some of the slickness.
Yeah, I thought that Titanic thing was pretty cool.
Kind of surprised to find it in Tennessee of all
I know,
places.
that's what a couple people already said. I was like, what the hell? I was driving, you come around the corner, you know, it's like 2 and 3 and 4 lanes on each side, and I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, I could see it in the distance. I'm like, what? Maybe it's the Queen Air. I said, no, that's the fucking Titanic. I can see it from here. And it was neat though. Go up the first class thing there, and they said they built a replica, exactly, the dome and everything. Or I guess what that's A deck.
I don't remember.
Yeah, had the elevator, the promenade, then you had the first class, you know.
How many stories high was it?
Ooh. It was 1/4 scale, I think.
Oh, okay.
Or 1/3 scale. It was big enough, but it was only,
Yeah.
it was a building. Oh, and Captain Smith was in there. Pretty cool. Get this, you ready? I go in there and talk to him, and the first thing I said was, what are the 2 medals for? I've always been wanting to know. And he said, you are the second or third person to ask me this in almost 17 years. I said, you fucking serious? Not that. I didn't quite say it like that. He says, yeah. He said, I've had this job, and he comes in every day, just about. And he said, only maybe 2 or 3 people have asked me this in like 15 years. I said, Jesus.
Man.
I've always wondered what those 2 medals were.
What were they for?
First one was for being in the British Royal Navy. That was the little purple one. And then the second one was, what was 1900? And I guess Captain Smith took some,
Boer War?
just say he went to Africa.
Yeah, that's the Boer War.
Yeah. That's what then the African government gave him. And he said he was very proud of his medals and he always wore them. And that's the only 2 that he had. So I thought that was, he said nobody ever asked that. Then of course I asked more questions like how long do you got to be in to get in, and I don't know if there's a time frame or, so I guess if you just serve in the British or the Royal Navy, you get that's the medal you get.
Don't know.
Always wondered. I said, how come only 2? He said that's all he ever had.
Well, he was a captain for White Star for a long time. They usually gave him the boats that were new, just coming out, you know. But...
He was highest paid on the Atlantic route.
Yeah, well, he was the senior captain. He had to be able to associate socially with his first-class passengers, which meant that he had to live their lifestyle to a certain extent, so he had to be well paid, you know.
Yeah, they had some artifacts in there. You know. Oh, the chair. The chair was there.
Oh, yeah?
The deck, yep.
Huh.
Remember that special we saw?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, so I walked down the corner. I said, oh, shit. And I said, so then, of course, they're dressed up like officers in there. And I said, is this the... And they said, no, this is a chair. I said, this is the only one. He says, that's right. He says, you really know? I said, yeah.
The only one we know about, anyway.
Right. Covered out of the debris field. It's got like a hole on the where your back goes. Where the what do you call it?
The mesh or whatever.
Yeah, the mesh. Yeah, it was. Yeah, you can tell. It looked like 100 years old. And then the guy said, "Do you know anything about it?" I said, "Yeah, I saw a whole like 2-hour special on this." And he said, he says they know about that special. So he said that was the one that I said these 2 guys did all this homework, going back and forth to France. He said, "Yep, that's the one." And I was like, "Oh, wow, that's the chair then." Because I have the actual traveling museum. Then there's a permanent one in Chicago. They got different ones with different artifacts. And I said this one comes and goes sometimes. Sometimes it goes with the traveling museum, and then it, you know.
Yeah. There are artifacts that left the Titanic with the passengers going into the lifeboats. Mostly life jackets, blankets, and things like that. And personal mementos they might have had with them.
There's only 1 or 2 blankets accounted for, I think.
Then there's artifacts recovered from the ocean after the ship sank. And then there's the artifacts recovered from the bottom of the sea, mostly by the French expedition.
Coal.
Because Bob Ballard didn't touch anything, but the French did. They went down there and looted pretty much everything, so...
Brought up the champagne bottles.
Yeah.
Why did they explode on the way down? That's what I never got.
Because they were already liquid filled. And under pressure. If they'd been full of air, then yeah, they would have exploded. But they were already full.
That's why I couldn't figure out how come the champagne bottles didn't.
Yeah, water,
halfway.
liquid equalizes liquid. I mean, it's there's nothing to crush. It's already full of liquid.
But when you pop it open,
That's carbonation. That's all. But I love the experiment they used to do with the coffee cups, putting them on the Alvin and stuff in a little basket, and they would, when it came back up, the coffee cup would be the size of a thimble, squished by the pressure, because styrofoam was just pretty much just air, you know, so injected air, so we squished down to its original solid foam, I guess, solid material.
Yeah, they had teacups, some silverware, you know.
Any shoes?
No shoes. Oh, they had a piece of luggage.
Oh,
Floating. It was floating.
yeah.
And it's got the stamp on it and everything. It's because the first thing everybody says is, you know, I took one look. I said that's got to be out of the debris. It's floating. And they found out who it belonged to. It's got a name and everything on it. Let's see. Oh, they had a piece of carpet from the what was it? From the Olympic.
Yeah.
So they had a piece of. It was a square about this big. It was green. Had little
Well, quite a lot of the Olympics still exists.
Well,
They sold off all the wood fittings and stuff like that, and it ended up all over London in townhouses and restaurants.
its grand staircases in the courthouse,
Yeah,
right there in I think in Liverpool or Belfast.
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
But they said this is not carpet, not from the Titanic, but this is the exact carpet that was on the Titanic.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to see, you know, what the carpet looked like. Oh, they got a piece of banister from one of you have A, B, and C deck with the grand staircases. A deck was the most popular with the dome.
Yeah.
But they said they have a piece of banister from that where it's split. That was picked up out of the debris field. That was authenticated. What else do they have? A lot of pictures. Some, I can't remember everything now. And they had a whole room just for Father Brown. You know who that was, right?
Yeah.
And they said if it wasn't for him, they would have no pictures of Smith on the Titanic.
Yeah.
They said that guy was a natural-born photographer. He had unreal.
Well, it was his hobby. He had a camera and all everything.
And they had a replica of the camera.
Yeah.
There was a little box.
Yep.
with
That's
an
all.
accordion. Yeah. Can't remember. It was a bishop or an archbishop bought him the ticket and said, you know, for whatever reason, I can't remember what the reason was, and go photograph the hell out of it.
No, he was just doing that because he was there. He wasn't doing that on church orders.
No. The pictures was on his own.
Yeah.
So what happened was he got them all developed. They went into the bottom of a trunk and nobody saw him until he died in 1960. And they said it was buried under tons and tons of shit. And then when they finally got the one of the, you know, I guess the head priest there got them negatives developed, and without that they said we'd have nothing if it wasn't for his pictures.
Well, there have been worse shipwrecks in history, but that's still the most famous.
Yep.
I forget what was the worst. The worst, I think, they don't really know for sure. It was a German liner the Russians sank in 1945, but I forget.
The Nazi Titanic?
Yes. No, not the movie. Nothing to do with the movie. The Nazis did make a Titanic movie, but no. This was an actual German liner that was being used by refugees fleeing the Russian advance.
Yeah, the Nazi Titanic,
Yeah, I forget the name of the actual ship.
That's what they called it. It's nicknamed the Nazi Titanic.
Yeah, it has a name, but I don't remember what it might have been. And we've had a few spectacular ones right here in this country, too. The Sultana in the middle of the Mississippi River. That wasn't a liner, obviously.
Now, was that the one where all the Civil War vets came
Yes,
back?
yes, that was a steamship.
After all that fucking going through that war, they get on the steamship.
And Andersonville Prison, no less, yes.
Then that thing catches on fire.
Yeah, well, boiler explosion.
They thought it was, they were blaming on rebels.
Yeah, but it wasn't. It was just a shitty boiler on a poorly maintained vessel. Pushed past its maximum capacity. They found it in the middle of a farmer's field.
Yeah.
Because the Mississippi had shifted. And nobody knew really where to look for it until they ran a magnetometer over it. They found all kinds of fascinating artifacts, including food.
Yeah, malted milk balls.
Yes,
in a
all
jar,
still sealed. It's still good, maybe. I don't know if they're good, but probably are.
Yeah, it's in Memphis, right?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah, all kinds of goods it was carrying was still in a hold when it sank, so it's still there. Preserved by the river mud and then the peat and whatever else was on top of it. And then the Empress of Ireland in the middle of the St. Lawrence River. That one I think took 1,400 people with it. Collided with another ship and sank very quickly. effort on the part of White Star. I mean, yes, the Olympic did sail until the 1930s, but it was the only one that did. The Britannic didn't last very long. Titanic, obviously not. And that was the only 3 they built.
Yeah, they said the thing down in Tennessee, they built it from scale, right? And then so when you walk up, the only thing that they had to do is put brass rails.
Yeah.
They couldn't, because people would fall and shit.
Yeah, they could do that.
And then I get up there and I'm looking at it, and I stood there and for about 10 minutes, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure they didn't have brass rails. The guy says, "My God, you are sharp." The guy said he was there for like 9 years, and he said maybe 2 people have said that. I wasn't trying to pick shit apart, but I was just like, I'm pretty sure there weren't,
Yeah. Well, Cunard didn't do much better with their ships, I guess. I mean, you had Mauritania, Lusitania. The Mauritania sailed for many years, no problems there, but Lusitania
Well, what happened
was,
to the Mauritania? What happened to that finally?
they scrapped like all the rest. They're made for a 25, 30-year service life, and then they're scrapped and replaced with the newer ships. Bigger, fancier, all that shit. That was the design life of them.
How far down is the Lusitania?
350, 250? It's not that deep.
No, that's not deep at all.
No, divers have been there. Except it's in a wicked current, I understand.
Huh.
Yeah, they even went inside of it, I think, looking to find out what caused the explosion. They had a whole television special about it a few years back.
I remember that cheesy movie where there were still survivors on it and they were living down there.
No, that was actually a episode of that submarine show. I know which one you're talking about.
In the 80s, right?
No, that was the early 90s.
Early 90s, maybe.
Yeah, it was a Halloween special about them. But they actually were ghosts. They weren't people, they were ghosts.
No.
The ship had been sent to sink and seal itself up, by some mad scientist type. And there was what the hell was the name? DS something or other, I forget.
No. It was an episode. It was a movie in the.
Oh, that must be something else.
Yeah, in the early 80s, and then they showed the ship going down, and then they sealed everything off, and they were living down there. And then divers went down and saw a face, and then one of them, and at the end, they rescued one girl out of there who was, born down there.
No, the Lusitania had no such secrets. Yeah, well, the 80s were good for movies like that.
Yeah. I still want to see Super Carrier.
Oh, God.
I haven't seen it yet.
Jesus.
I remember them making fun of it when I was in A school.
Lusitania was another disaster that shouldn't have happened, but it did.
Those medals from the German sub was only for the sinking of that boat, right?
Yes.
Any of those accounted for?
Oh, yeah. Because they made more than just the ones they gave to the crew. Yeah. They were passed around here and there. Although officially the Germans censored the captain for doing it. Because it caused a great upset around the world, and it pushed the United States more into the British camp than it already was, and the Germans didn't need that. Because at the start of World War I in this country, it was a toss-up. We can go either way. There were a lot of Germans living here. There were a lot of people who didn't particularly care much for the British at that time, and so it was either, it would have swung in either direction. It was stupid moves on the part of the Germans that really caused a lot of bad feeling and shit to happen. Lusitania was only one of those things. So hey, a neon.
Not even getting gas, just taking up space.
Probably getting something to eat. Well, yeah. Ooh, fucking. There you go, Scott.
Oh, hey, Jim. Cool. I think it's the guy working in there. Shithead thing to do, but working the night shift. But
At the Quickie Mart. Stop and steal. Give me your fucking money, motherfucker, now! Fuck that shit.
I knew of somebody who got robbed in Virginia years ago.
It happens many times.
Yeah, well, I didn't like know the guy, but I knew of him.
In all-night places like this are just magnets of that kind of shit while they're available, you know?
When we were in Chicago, Mike met my friend Sam, and then when I knew Sam in Virginia, that was his friend. So he was telling us about it. You know, came in with a gun. And I said, what did he say? And he goes, yo, yo, yo. That's all he fucking said. He said, oh, fuck. And I opened up the drawer. And, you know, kicked the little red button. That was it. And they did catch him. They did get him. I said, better you than me. So I was in a Walgreens, and there was like a couple of 3 people online, and you see him there kind of near the door, and he's got a basket, and he kind of walked like he was going to get in line, and he ran out the fucking door, and everybody was standing there with their mouths open. I was like, oh shit. Oh, my favorite tracks.
Yeah, Mike and I both agree that ones over on the other side are much more fucking worse. Just about bounce your fucking car off the ground.
The worst one's over by the Danbury Mall. They got that. This is nothing compared to the Danbury Mall. Forget about it. I come creeping over it. Somebody coming the other way, and bang, it bottomed out.
Oh, God.
Let me fix that.
Wonder how Pat made out.
So tell me about the car that's been there for 10 or 15 years
What car?
over at the yard.
That's hundreds of cars. Which one do you mean specifically?
The one for Pat.
Oh, no, that's just the remains of a 68 Chevelle.
Oh.
He wants parts of it, not the car. The car is ruined. He just wants the rear end and tranny and some shit like that, which he'll take any time we get it out. But it's just been sitting there a long time because the guy that Pat's doing the car for never seems to get the money up or whatever. So it sits in his garage and hasn't been done. Pat has plenty of other projects to do, so it's on the back burner. But every time Sean comes in and sees that, he asks, is he still taking it? Is he still taking it? Yes, he is, Sean, he is. Because Sean's a Chevy guy, and he loves that kind of shit. Then when he saw that truck up there, the 2004 Silverado, he's like, "Ooh, you guys are selling this?" And I said, "No, Pat bought it yesterday." Oh, man, that guy gets all the best stuff, you know. It's like... And Pat was there working on it when we left today. Imagine he'll be back in the morning working on it again. He's got to replace the whole nose, front suspension, a bunch of other shit. Well, he should have a decent truck when he's done. He's got the parts already. It's all there, so.
Oh, you got a Titanic artifact, don't you?
Yes, I do. Steward's pin. they're getting ready to make another big, huge movie about it again. It's been a long time now. What has it been? 16 years? No,
97.
17 years.
They made one the year before.
Well, that was a made-for-TV one.
Oh.
I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, with Tim Curry.
Yeah,
low
that's
budget,
made for TV. It was 97, so it's been 17 years ago. Hard to believe it's been that long, but it has been.
How can they remake that?
Oh, like everybody, the Titanic story's been told literally 100 times, probably 30 or 40 times on film alone. I mean, even the Nazis made a Titanic movie, you know? I mean, everybody has. They were making Titanic movies in the silent movie era.
The two that I know of is the 1953.
There were actually 2 or 3 in the 50s.
Yeah.
You know, Knights Remember was based on Lord's book.
That's the one. That's one.
But there were others that were just based generally on the story. But oh yeah, they've done that so many times.
And then there's the Unsinkable Molly Brown, which is kind of a play.
Yeah,
it
that's
was only
another
the
one.
very end of the movie. It was like a little 2-second clip.
Yeah.
And they showed the little plastic model.
Yeah.
with the fake smoke coming out.
That was kind of cheesy.
Yeah. Oh, that's what was there. Her dress.
Yeah.
Who did that? Debbie Reynolds or?
Yeah.
Yeah, her dress that she used in that movie, that was on display. So they said this is from the movie The Unsinkable Molly Brown. They had her dress in there. Yeah, all kind of good stuff in there. And that was only just like a 2-second little clip, and then because I saw the movie about 6 months ago, and it was like it was about her whole life story. Just the Titanic was just like a little, a few-minute thing. That was it.
Yeah. What do we have here?
Oh, that's a cop. That was most definitely a cop.
Yeah.
Good now. So where's that Volkswagen?
What? Oh yeah.
Yeah. Where the hell's that motherfucker at? Comes speeding around the corner. Where is he at? Boy, that's not the first time we've seen him hiding
That's
there.
a normal spot for them.
So what do? You come down the road here, come flying around the fucking corner. Is that?
Yeah, that's what they're waiting for.
Back in the day, you'd try to signal somebody or flash somebody. Now I'm like, good. I hope you get a fucking ticket. It's just the way I feel. Look at that. Usually we see at least one or... Oh, we got the frog. You see it?
Yeah.
Frogger. I usually see a car coming down here at this hour.
Yeah, no, I guess not tonight. Well, we're a little later than usual. It's 1:54 in the morning, so... Could be all the drunks are either home or they're not quite left to wherever they are at yet. I don't know when the bars close or if they do.